coming to you on a Tuesday. Thank you so much for stopping by. Overcast, cloudy again here in the capital city. Jake and Fulton caster with you. The Royals didn't get no hit. That's a positive. That is a positive. I'm trying to be optimistic today. We're going to try to be optimistic today, and that's why we are not going to talk a lot about this current team. Okay? We're not going to talk about a guy who walked 8 batters in 3 innings. In 3 innings, 8 batters. That is almost 3 batters an inning. We're not going to talk about that. All right? We're not. We're not going to talk about the fact that he looked like Rick Wild Thing Vaughn out there. We're not going to get into that today.
Well, at least Wild Thing had stuff.
We're not going to get into that. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk Chiefs, Matt Derrick. All right? We're going to talk schedule. We're going to talk about the NFL's going the way of Major League Baseball, and I hate it. I hate it. I don't like it. But the NFL knows it's Teflon, man, and nothing we can do about it. So we'll get into that. Holy Moses, college realignment. We thought it was juicy yesterday. Fulton, it is juicier than a Juicy Lucy on a barbecue, because holy cow, we got some stuff to talk about when it comes to the college realignment world. Dan Lucero will stop by. We got a lot to get to on this edition of Mic'd Up. Let us know your thoughts. Hit us up on our text line, 785-272-9429, on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits phone line as well. Today, 1 year ago, you heard that music for the very first time.
It's true.
Yeah, that's the first time.
I think that was a very important invitation of our open.
We are 1 year anniversary for our show. We appreciate you listening. So we are going to celebrate for 2 different reasons. One, we're going to celebrate that the Royals didn't get no hit. And
pretty low bar, we set them there.
Well, the Royals have a low bar.
Yeah,
the Royals do.
That's true.
And because it's the 1 year anniversary, we are going to try to give away some tickets today, because still going to the ballpark is fun. And you can pick the game that you want to go to. If you want to go watch the Angels.
Yeah, you can pick a game where you can go watch a good baseball team on the field.
Yes, in fact.
Watch a good baseball team on the field on our dime.
Yeah,
on our dime.
So we got coming up. You got the Angels in June. You got the Dodgers at the first part of July. Tampa Bay. Who else we got? You got the Mets. They're not very good.
No, they're not. They're really bad.
They're not good anymore. You got some options.
You got some choices.
So we're gonna give away some Royals tickets today, but we're not gonna talk about the loss yesterday. We're not.
No.
I asked you.
It sucked.
Die-hard fan Fulton.
Yeah.
A question yesterday.
You did.
Said we're gonna talk about this today. We know what the future is for the lineup, and they're starting to play that lineup. Yeah. But here is also why you should be more upset that they only had 2 hits yesterday, and you shouldn't be upset at all about Brad Keller. You should. Because Brad Keller's not going to be part of this team in the future when they're good. So why get upset about Brad Keller right now?
Mm-hmm.
You are, folks out there, Fulton was going through it last night. Here's the thing. Find something you love as much as Fulton loves the Royals and wants them to win. Like, I think you have unrealistic expectations, but because you are a super fan and you still care about winning, whereas I most certainly don't, that yesterday's game didn't bother me. It didn't, because
how I envy you.
Because Brad Keller's not going to be a part of the future. No. So I wanted to ask you, who is going to be a part of the future? The Royals are probably not going to win next year in 2024.
Mm.
Okay. But let's say who is going to be in the rotation in 2024?
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to be that guy?
So, and that was the thought experiment we went with here, because I honest in my heart of hearts, believe there is a path to this team being competitive and winning ball games in 24. But
give me a number. End of the year, 80 games?
I think they can get to 80 wins next year.
Okay, if they're 80 wins, they're competitive.
I fully believe there's now. I know some of you right now are probably thinking I'm a psychopath and losing my mind because look at the product on the field. The point is that lineup with the young guys in it, not the one that sometimes has the veterans we hate, the lineup that is mostly young dudes, and there's even still a few young hitters you can put on this team. That lineup is good enough to get you to 80-some wins.
Okay, so
it truly is.
Now
so then it goes to the pitching. And so we go to pitching. I think there are 6 dudes that if you can get 3 starters out of them for 2024, you could compete for 80-some wins next year. That those 6 dudes are Brady Singer, Daniel Lynch, Alec Marsh, Drew Parrish, Austin Cox, and Anthony Venzaino. 2 of those names, I'm pretty sure everyone here listening is sort of before Brady Singer and Daniel Lynch. 4 of those, 3 of those names, because Austin Cox did get called up this year. So 3 of those names, all of you are familiar with. 3 other of those names, some of you may not be familiar with. We know Singer and Lynch. Singer is struggling, but I still think there's something in there that maybe you could get a major leaguer out of. Daniel Lynch is at rehab starts. I can't evaluate him right now because last year to me doesn't count. Well, it counts kind of, but we've yet to see him pitch under the new system. So I want to see what happens there, and I still think he has the best stuff of anybody. Austin Cox looked good in his 1 major league appearance of 2 innings. Could he be something? Maybe. But then we go to Marsh, Parrish, and Venzaino, who I think are the true wild cards for 2024. Drew Parrish right now on 7 starts in AAA. It's been kind of eh. He's a 5.74 ERAs, 1 and 2. He started strong. He's kind of scuffled lately. And then Alec Marsh and Anthony Venzaino are at AA right now. But Alec Marsh is a 3.67 ERA in 6 starts. Anthony Venzaino, who looked lost last year, could not pitch last year, has a 1.45 ERA and is 4-1 in 7 starts at AA. Those are 2 guys that we are likely probably not going to see this year, or if we did, it's in September. But I realistically think of those 6 dudes, if you can get 3 of them to be number 3, number 4 starters, I'm not even asking for I'm talking average. Can they all throw with 4 ERAs? If you can get that, if you can get half of those dudes to be 4 ERA, 5 to 6 inning a start dudes, I 100% believe this team can win 80 games next year. But the caveat to that is John Sherman has to go get you 2 pitchers. John Sherman has to open the checkbook and go get 2 number 3, number 4 starters. Because I think a rotation of 3s with this offense could find its way to 80 wins. Now, if we're talking like playoff aspirations, you need better. Because I don't think this lineup can do I don't think this team's built like 14 and 15 to have a bunch of 3s and get there. But if we're talking be competitive, win 80-some games, you need a rotation of 3s and 4s. And that's where I want to point to. We look at the pitching right now, and we're so upset by it because it's awful. It's disgustingly bad.
Yes.
And I talked to this a couple weeks ago. Reinforcements are coming. The problem is the timeline with which they get here. Daniel Lynch, I'm hoping pitches tomorrow. We've heard no word about that.
I don't
know.
Probably not.
I would assume we would have heard something by now, which frustrates me because I think he's ready, but I also don't mind them not rushing him back. If the idea is they're waiting because they don't want to rush him back, honestly, I get it. I won't fight that. Another bulk day, though, sucks. So, but those 6 dudes are all 6 dudes who could pitch in the big leagues in some fashion this season. Like, Austin Cox and Drew Parrish can be rotation members by July. They're already at AAA. If your thought is run them through June, see how they're doing, and see what the big league level's doing, I mean, in June, if Brad Keller still ain't got it, I mean, he's a free agent next year. Ship him off somewhere. Option him down. I don't care. Send him off somewhere. At some point, someone's going to get hurt again, so you still need to figure it out. there are so many different ways you can get guys run, but I strongly believe if you can get half of that to be competent, just competent at the big league level, this team can legitimately compete in 24. But the part that I really want, if we're talking optimism and putting positive spin on things today, what is happening at 25 is a lot better. Because what's that high A and low A, the real sicko stuff for minor league people like me, it's good. Like, in high A, like, nearly the entire rotation's ERA is under 4. Outside of Noah Cameron's, who's is over 4.
Now, I'm going to play, it's not devil's advocate. It's more just realism here. Is I agree with you that their stuff is like excellent. The Hoffmans, the Sycamas, Kleins, Cruzes, the Mozzicatos, and those dudes, right? Some really positive stuff. For where they're pitching at right now,
no, you're correct.
Is so far
it's
away
so far
that you can have.
I get you.
So many bad things happen because.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, I'm with you.
Every one of those pitchers of the 6.
Yeah.
If you throw in Jonathan Bolin back in 2018, Coart, Lynch, Singer, Bubich, all that. They were all dominating high A, low A, and now
then when they get to
they can't do anything.
And no, I agree. And that is the caveat I got to put on everything.
Mm-hmm.
Is yes, the guys farther away look really great. We can't guarantee they'll be the same. I mean, I want to take this time to point this out though, because this is one of the only times I'm going to get to do this, because everyone crapped on the Frank Mozzicato pick when it happened. Everyone. I mean, all of Royals Twitter went up in flames of why are we taking a high school kid out of Connecticut? Which there were some valid criticisms. Frank Mozzicato.
Well, hold on. I'm going to tell you this right now. He's 0-2.
If you're going to bring up Jake, the only reason I'm not going to lose my mind is because I know you did that because you know it can rile me up. He is 0-2.
He's 0-2. He has not won a game yet.
He has a 2.45 ERA and 6 starts. But here is the more important part with Frank Mozzicato. And I'm going to use Mozzicato as the individual example of a larger thing happening at the lower levels. Frank Mozzicato has 49 strikeouts to 19 walks in not even 30 innings.
That's like the inverse of Brad Keller.
Yeah, but that is that individual example is what a lot of guys are doing for the Royals and the low minors. Now, that can all go to pot. I think Kundra and Mozzicato should both be in Quad Cities by halfway through this year to high A.
They should be in there right now, probably.
I will say this, a lot of these guys should all be at a level higher than they are right now. That promotion wave's coming. We've started seeing a little bit like in the events and Alec Marsh. They'll be in Omaha by July. And that's where guys in Double A, I'm at least they might come up in September and yada, yada, yada. But, there's guys at high A performing well who should get to Arkansas this year. There is a larger body of work. And those are the guys that I'm more excited about. And no, it is 2025. It is a lot of steps till they get there. A lot of things can go wrong. That's pitching prospect 101 because there's no such thing as a pitching prospect. Because Jonathan Bolin looked like the next great thing. And I'm doing this conversation. I mentioned Jonathan Bolin. He looked great. Screws his back up, and he has not looked the same. And maybe something comes around with that. Asa Lacy looked great. He can't throw a strike right now. He's still struggling.
He's worse than Brad Keller.
Yes.
Yeah.
Andrew Hoffman and TJ Sakema are kind of playing well, but they're, kind of all right. And for Sakema, Will Klein, and Steven, because this team goes beyond rotation. We talk about, and I know you said bullpen doesn't matter until you're good, but if we're not competitive, we're talking bullpen. TJ Sakema, Will Klein, and Steven Cruz all in Double A right now. It could be real good bullpen arms the next time this team's competitive.
And that is the reason I wanted to put this together is you talk big picture a lot,
and
right?
I think
right?
we need to, and I do, and we need to because that's what this sport is. It is not a small picture sport when you're in this position the Royals are in.
Big picture right now is almost every pitcher on this staff right now, outside of about 2 or 3, Because bullpen guys, and that's what you hope.
Yeah.
Like Brad Keller might be a decent bullpen guy if he was a full-on fledged bullpen guy, but they have nobody else who can start.
Yeah, and that's where I'm hoping, as we go later, maybe your thought is, okay, we're going to give Drew Parrish a rotation spot. Brad Keller, just go sit in the pen now.
Yeah.
And maybe you can't. And that's why, I talk about a bunch, and I'll preface this as well. I get so many out there tired of the losing. And so when I say, well, about 24, about 25, you're sick of it and you roll your eyes and you want to whack me upside the head. I get it. But when you are a team like this, who is, as I've said, and it stinks, this is year one of a rebuild. Dayton Moore's rebuild was a failure. That was a failed rebuild and a waste of 5 years, 6 years. That's just a waste. And I know none of you want to hear that, but that's where you are. And that's where you get to a spot like this.
And that's the problem is all outside of Singer, Lynch, maybe Hernandez.
I think Hernandez as a bullpen arm is legit good.
I'm talking.
Yeah, I know.
I'm talking just the next time that the Royals are competitive.
Yeah, you got maybe 3 pitchers on this roster that are going to be part of that.
So therefore, Greinke, we love him. But all Greinke, all Yarbrough, all Chapman right now, who else is in there that doesn't, the Clarks and all of that type of stuff.
Yeah, they're just bodies.
No, they're just placeholders.
Spots.
They're
seat warmers.
They're guys making a paycheck because the Royals have to field a team.
Yeah,
that's why Fulton, buddy. You cannot let this team dictate how you're feeling because none of these guys are gonna
I understand. Yeah. No, I agree.
The only reason to watch the Royals is to love baseball and because you just love the game. And the only reason to go to the K right now
is going to a ballpark is just in general
fun. It really is. And that's
being
why
at
we're
a
gonna give
ballpark
away.
is just fun.
Exactly. I was at the game in which the Royals lost.
Oh yeah, you saw Jordan Lyles give 8 runs in 3 innings,
and the Royals fought back, and it was
so much fun, man.
It just going to the game is fun, and that's why we're going to give away some tickets today. Right now, caller number 2, because the Royals got 2 hits yesterday. All right,
they did.
They got 2 hits. So caller number 2, you're going to the K. You get to pick the game. How about that? Let us know. Caller number 2, hit us up on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits phone lines 785-272-9429. You get tickets, and you get your choice. 2 tickets on the lower level or 4 tickets upper level to your game of your choice. Let us know your thoughts. Caller number 2. In light of 2 hits for the Royals and 1 year ago today, we started mic'd up. Caller number 2, coming up next, we're going to talk, a little sign stealing. A potential sign stealing situation going on right now involving the New York Yankees. And I will say this, according to Buster Olney, he tweeted this out. There is an assumption on the Blue Jays side that their pitcher and catcher were betraying the identity of the forthcoming pitches last night, and that it was being conveyed to Aaron Judge, and that is why he was glancing to his right for info. In other words,
you can just say tipping pitches.
Tipping pitches. I have no problem with people trying to steal signs. No issues with that. As long as it is done organically. Yeah. The whole whoa, we're going to use video and then we are going to look at the TV, grab video, and then bang a trash can. That's the literal definition of using outside sources.
If you steal signs by a guy on second base reading a catcher's hands like we've done for eternity,
that's not a problem. It's not a problem.
That's cool.
In this situation, if the Yankees found a way to decipher what was going to be thrown, and they're standing there on the dugout, and
they're letting Judge know what's coming because the Blue Jays are tipping pitches,
then I have no
problem. That's on the
Blue
Jays, man.
Yeah, use pitch comp.
That's all clean.
Use pitch comp.
Well, and even then, if whatever reason, I don't know who was on the mound at the time.
Oh yeah, the way he's
if he's fanning his glove a certain way, or you can tell who he's manipulating, what he's changing his grip to, brother, that's on you.
Yeah.
Ask Daniel Lynch.
Yeah,
because Daniel Lynch had that exact same problem, and I got no problem with it. If you are tipping, I'm not against any hitter taking advantage of that.
Exactly. So I got no problem with Aaron Judge. It is obvious as hell.
Oh yeah. And I saw someone kind of go, I mean, if they had a whole operation going, why were more guys not looking over because only Judge was doing it? That makes me go more of it's a one-off thing. Yeah. Like they realized that AB something was happening where they could learn.
So I thought that was kind of interesting. Coming up next. Oh, by the way, who won the Royals tickets?
Our man Paul, very excited to win his Royals tickets. Keep listening. We'll give away more.
Yep.
The team may stink, but going to a ballpark is fun. And you could also watch a better team that they're facing.
Yeah.
Exactly. You could watch Shohei Ohtani. You could win tickets to go to the Angels.
Exactly. Free is good. Coming up next, we're going to talk to Matt Derrick. Kansas City on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits phone lines is Matt Derrick from ChiefsDigest.com. You can follow him on Twitter at Matt Derrick, ChiefsDigest.com. Matt, how are you doing on this Tuesday afternoon?
Not too bad, Jake. Just trying to keep up with everything and stay out of trouble. That's the most I can do in between, mini camps and OTAs and everything. So what else are you going to do, man?
Alrighty, let's get to the schedule. Overall thought on the schedule.
It's different than past years. I mean, last year I think it was the exact opposite. It was pretty front loaded. As far as I think most of the tough games were earlier in the season, and you felt like the Chiefs got in a pretty good position. They could cruise, which they kind of did last year. This year, I think it's the opposite. I mean, they should be in a pretty favorable situation going into Week 9 and that international game against the Dolphins in Germany. I mean, there's a pretty good chance they should be, I think, at least 6-2 at minimum. I think 7-1 wouldn't even be unreasonable. 8-0 is certainly possible. I think that's where at least I think that the range of outcomes would be. I can't imagine it being worse than 6-2 going into that game, but it'd be tough down the stretch. I mean, this is always a December team, but you look at December in particular, there's 3 really tough games, and including their 2 home games against Buffalo and Cincinnati. That's going to be a tough little stretch. I mean, I think this is the season where the Chiefs definitely would like to be out on top and out in front comfortably, because if not, they're going to have some work to do in December.
All right. Do you have the schedule in front of you, Matt?
I do.
What's the 3 toughest games? And you can combine team, location, turnaround, that type of thing. What's the toughest three game stretch?
Just a 3-game stretch or 3 distinct games?
Just a 3-game stretch. Like I think their toughest 3-game stretch, if you combine everything, is going to be at the New York Jets, at the Minnesota Vikings, and then the short turnaround game on Thursday against the Broncos. I think that is going to be their toughest 3-game stretch. And I know people are going to be like, well, the Jets, Vikings, and Broncos, Jake, that's not like the best opponents. You know, that's not the Eagles. It's not the Bills. It's not the Bengals. Well, I look at, you know, the Eagles. They play the Raiders and the Packers after the Eagles. And then you got the Bills. Well, they play the Packers before the Bills and the Patriots and the Raiders after the Bills. And then, you know, the Bengals, they play them in week 17. You got the Raiders before them and then at the Chargers afterwards. Granted, that's the last game of the year. Who knows about that one? So, like, I think at the Jets, at the Vikings, and then that quick turnaround with the Broncos is the toughest 3-game stretch to me. What would yours be?
There's a reasonable argument to be made there. I could definitely get it. I don't know. I mean, to me, gosh, the thing is that, you know, to me, the toughest games that the Chiefs have on their schedule, they've got a little buffer in between them. I mean, I think the three tough games are, you know, the Eagles, Bills, and Bengals, you know, after the bye week, but they've got 2 games in between each one of those contests. So, yeah, you know, making it a 3-game stretch makes it a little bit easier because I don't think that in particular Eagles, Raiders, Packers is that bad. Even Packers, you know, Bills, Patriots isn't that bad. I mean, I won't even throw in week 18 and bring that, but, you know, Patriots, Raiders, Bengals, I mean, those are all in there. But I don't know. I might actually go just a little bit after yours, but I would include and say, I'm going to say the Broncos in week 8, Dolphins in week 9, and then the Eagles. Because I think the Dolphins and the Eagles are probably, and assuming those 2 teams are healthy, especially the Dolphins, I think Dolphins and Eagles are the 2 toughest teams the Chiefs are going to play back to back. And even though the Chiefs have the bye week,
in between,
that's helpful and that's nice, and it gives you extra little rest and everything. But yeah, I mean, the Eagles are probably the one team that I wouldn't want to face coming off a bye because I think they're that good. But we all know how Andy Reid is. But to me, Dolphins and Eagles, I think that's the toughest 2-game stretch the Chiefs has. So either way, I mean, if you want to look at it as the Broncos, Dolphins, Eagles, or the Dolphins, Eagles, Raiders, both those divisional games are road games. So you throw that in there too. That'd probably be my case.
Yeah, the Chargers at Denver at Germany stretch, not the easiest for them when you consider the 2 road games are all the way to Germany and then at Denver, and it's still difficult to play at altitude. So I thought that was kind of interesting there. Are you surprised that the Chiefs are playing the Lions week 1?
Only slightly. I mean, they were on my list of possibilities, and they were the team that the Chiefs would play if the NFL was clearly, totally going into their what seems to be their new schedule formula, which is that is going to be an interconference game that doesn't matter that much. And I to a degree, I get that. You know, week 1's a big game. I mean, and I think it's tough to ask an AFC team to come in and play the Chiefs on a Thursday night in that environment. I mean, and you look at the teams that they could have played. I mean, it's either going to be a divisional game or it's going to end up being the Bills or the Bengals. I mean, could have been the Dolphins. I mean, you know, you get some really, I mean, what on paper are good matchups, but I just don't know if they're ideal matchups for week 1 because I think that's a week that should favor the champion. I mean, they're going to be in the best possible situation. So I kind of get it. And you look at what the NFL has done. I mean, I think they have given in to the idea of trying to make week 1 a marquee game and just accept that that if they're going to have the champs play every single year on that first game, it's going to be a celebration. So go ahead and let them have it. You know, don't make somebody else have to come in there and watch their party. They get a less meaningful game, and you don't get anything less meaningful in the NFL than interconference games.
A lot of fans are upset that the Dolphins are not coming to Arrowhead. They were chosen to go over to the Germany game. Why do you suppose they chose the Dolphins?
Yeah, and I would like to hear from the Chiefs their thoughts and their impact and their beliefs on it and everything. But there was a conference call with the NFL last week where they kind of talked about some of these issues, and one thing that was kind of addressed a little bit was that or at least hinted at was that this was kind of a thing the Chiefs wanted to do, that they were willing to give up a game like this because they feel like it's important that that these international games need to be good contests. They need to be with premier teams. They need to be marquee matchups, and they just can't all be duds, and they can't just be one team going over there and playing some random team. That they need to have some meaning. And I completely get that. I mean, this is going to be one of the better, international games that we've seen. I think it's certainly the best international game this year. And if you're going to grow the NFL, if you're going to grow the product, you need to send Tyreek Hill and Patrick Mahomes overseas. I mean, that's the product that's going to sell. So from that standpoint, I don't have any problems with that whatsoever. Now, if there's some of the other factors played into it, like the Chiefs were really dead set on making sure that they had Chicago and Kansas City and weren't playing Chicago and Germany, where maybe they would have had, a little bit more of a crowd favoritism there. Maybe that's the case. I don't know for sure. That was part of the Chiefs thinking, but knowing Clark Hunt's, real desire to build this team's brand internationally and his strong support for the NFL doing that, it wouldn't surprise me in the least if he was very comfortable with giving away a marquee game because he feels like it's good for the league.
You mentioned about the Chicago game. Is there any truth to the rumor that the home team gets to protect a specific game on not being played overseas? Did the Chiefs select the Bears as their game that they did not want to play overseas?
Yeah, unclear. I haven't had anybody tell me specifically that the Chiefs made that specific request, but that it may have at least been an understanding with the league that the Chiefs didn't want to lose that game, that in particular, but that they were willing to play Miami, and if that was the case. So hard to say for sure. Now, one thing that is of note is that teams now get the option of whether they want their bye week after the international game or whether they're willing to take it later. So the Chiefs having the bye week directly after that game tells you that, yes, they did indeed want the bye week after that Dolphins game.
Now, when it comes to the international games, is it true that maybe it wasn't the Bears? Because I have heard it was the Bears. That they do have a say, the home team who is losing a home game. Now, granted, they're not losing a home game. It's that 9th home game. That they get a big say on who they play, correct?
That's the understanding, yes. The ultimate NFL makes the decision, but yeah, they do consider input from the teams.
If that's the case, I don't think the Chiefs will ever play a road game again in international waters.
Well, they're going to be required to play at least one because that's in every cycle, which is what is it now?
No. I'm talking road game, like
You're
home game.
One of their home games.
Yeah, that
like road game. Every NFL team's required to play at least one road game too.
That would surprise me because let's say like if I was an opposing team, I wouldn't want to give up the Chiefs as a home game. I would not want to go across the pond to go play the Chiefs because that is a premier game. Why would you get rid of that game?
And that's where, the NFL, while on the one hand, they do consider the home team as far as, what games that they don't want to lose. The other thing that's important is that they also give a lot of weight to which teams are willing to go. And that's one thing that, I think that the Chiefs probably have in their favor is that I think Clark Hunt is willing to say, hey, if it's a year to play on the road, I don't think the Chiefs are ever going to turn down that opportunity. I mean, I think that they would always make themselves, for the most part, willing to go over and play a road game somewhere because they're that committed to trying to build their brand internationally, and they've got the player to do it right now. So I know the Chiefs would like to continue playing in Germany. They'd like to play in Mexico. They're picking up some more international markets too. So, and they've got a big following in the UK. So I could see them wanting to play a lot of different places, but just that one home game every 4 years might not be enough for their appetite.
So, okay, there another example. The Chiefs schedule next year, okay? They will play they played the 49ers last year, so they played the West last year. They're playing the North this year. So they're either going to play the East or the South next year, right?
Yeah, and I can look it up real quick and tell you.
It's either going to be one of those two. So let's say they're going to play the South, right? If you're New Orleans, if you're Tampa Bay, if you're Carolina, if you are, and I'm missing someone. Who else am I missing in that dumpster fire division?
Atlanta.
Saint Atlanta, yeah.
Yeah, or if you're Atlanta, and you've got your 9 home games. All those teams have their 9 home games, let's say. If I'm Atlanta, I ain't playing the Chiefs over there. I'm saying hell no. And if especially if you think you're competitive. If you're, let's say they're playing the East and you are, the Giants, and you're like, no, we think we got a chance to beat the Chiefs, but we don't have a chance to beat them overseas. We got a home field advantage. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I guarantee you, if the Chiefs and Cowboys play, they will never ever play across the pond.
Yeah, there's certain.
Jerry ain't gonna allow that. I thought that was, when I read that the Chiefs, saved the Bears because they wanted the Bears to be a home game, because they obviously think that that's a better moneymaker than the Dolphins game or the Lion, or you know what I mean? So I thought that was kind of interesting. We're talking with Matt Derrick here from ChiefsDigest.com. One more thing on the I guess what happened in the last week. Donovan Smith's contract has come out. How surprised are you that his cap hit's just $2.5 million?
Not terribly surprised, because when the Chiefs signed that contract, that's about all that they could afford. Now, the incentives and how he can make that money up and maybe, fulfill and max out that contract will be a little bit more interesting. And I have not seen the details specifically on, what they are beyond the per game, roster bonuses. But hey, I mean, based off the season he was coming off of, I mean, this is a way that the Chiefs were able to structure a contract that, Donovan Smith got a chance to make a lot of money. I mean, he can max out that contract and make the full max value, with some relative ease, and especially if he's healthy. And that's the way that the contract was really structured, was to help him do that. But at the same time, give the Chiefs a low base that they could fit under the cap with when they didn't have a lot of room at the time. So, a very cap-friendly deal that, if Donovan Smith is healthy and plays all 17 games this year and they make the playoffs, I mean, he should, max out the value of that contract. So it in theory should be good for both sides. It's just, to me, it's pretty rare that you get a player of that caliber at that kind of a cap hit. But I think in this case, you just had a player that was, a very specific situation that didn't have a lot of options. And the Chiefs probably being the primary place to be able to go, because they needed a starting left tackle, and it's probably a great marriage. I mean, from that standpoint, especially if he's healthy. So we'll see if it works out, but very, very low risk opportunity for the Chiefs here.
All righty, last two for the road for our good friend Matt Derrick. All right, Matt. The over-under for the Kansas City Chiefs is 11.5. What are you taking?
Yeah, I don't get that at all. I mean, that just seems like
what does Vegas know that I don't know, Matt?
The only thing that I've been able to rationalize has been that they just think that the odds are maybe this is the year that Patrick Mahomes misses 3 games, and maybe the Chiefs, slide in at 11-6. But I don't get it. I mean, that just seems like they're giving away money to me.
I know it's at like minus 140. And so, it's not terrible. It's not great odds if you're wanting to bet, the over, but I just can't see the Chiefs losing 12 games or losing 6 games.
I'm not even sure if Mahomes missed a few games that they would fall down to 11-6.
I mean, the Chiefs beat the Vikings, who were good that year, with Matt Moore off a short week.
Yeah. If you can win with Matt Moore, you can win with Blaine Gabbert. I got no problem saying that.
Oh, so you're going Blaine Gabbert as the backup, not Shane Buechele.
I mean, I think right now he'd probably be the first guy in there. We'll see, but long way to go. But I think you'd have a better chance to win right now with Blaine than you would with Shane.
All righty. Now, we know that the Chiefs have got a lot of wide receivers on the roster. I think they're going to keep 6 wide receivers. Does Justin Ross play in a game for the Kansas City Chiefs in 2023? Does he actually step on the field and run a play, a block, a pass catch? Doesn't have to catch a pass. He just has to play.
Get a snap in there. Special team.
Yeah, a snap.
I'm going to say yes, because I think he makes the practice squad. I'm still not convinced that he's 100% ready to be a part of the 53-man roster, but I think he makes the practice squad, and if that's the case, I think they'll need him at some point during the season. So I will say yes.
Matt, you are the absolute best, my friend, and all of the Justin Ross hive out there is ecstatic. I've never seen a guy get this much hype coming into a season. As Jody Fortson didn't get this kind of hype even. And Fulton, was on the Jody Fortson fourth season, excuse me.
Yeah, fourth season. Get it right.
Yeah, fourth season. I mean, he's on that train big time. Matt, thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it, and we'll talk to you next week.
Always a pleasure, guys. Take care, everybody.
Matt Derrick, ChiefsDigest.com. Follow him on Twitter at Matt Derrick. Fleming Place Wine and Spirits phone line. Always good to talk with Matt Derrick.
Tell me you're not on the Justin Ross hype train.
Look, I loved Justin Ross at Clemson.
Yeah.
Then he got hurt.
Yeah.
Now he's a completely different player.
Yeah.
Completely different player.
Yeah. It's probably correct. Probably correct. How much you putting down on that Chiefs over win total?
I already did.
How much?
I am.
Put the mortgage down?
I will not confirm.
Put down your children's entire college fund?
I will not confirm nor deny the amount of dollars that I have put down on the Chiefs winning 12
Put up your wife's ring as collateral?
No, I didn't do that.
I'm running out of joke references here, so that's the best I got.
No.
My Rolodex for that is a little low for how many more references I can make about like what things you put up.
You know what they say? You never wager what you can't lose.
Yeah, I know. That's exactly the mentality I took with me to Vegas, because I lost literally everything I took with me to Vegas. And I came out of it feeling okay, because like I came prepared to lose that much money.
Yeah. No. The wife's ring is her ring. Not even gonna go near that one.
Smart man.
Not even gonna go near that one. The only time I
also hope you never actually in any sort of financial situation where that has to come up.
Here's a fun exercise.
Oh no.
Here is a fun exercise. What would the situation be that you would have to say to your wife, I need your ring, but it's like, I don't need it, but if somebody says the only way this works is if you do it, like you gotta be, it almost has to be like a lock, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta be, listen, the only situations where that applies is if you're working with some really bad people, because that's how much of a guarantee it is. And then you're in just a whole nother mess of problems.
Yeah, it's a bad situation.
Like you're in deep with people you should not be in deep with.
Yeah, and then that's your own damn fault.
Yeah,
that's true. We got a lot more to get to on this edition of Mic'd Up. We'll give away some more Royals tickets on the 1-year anniversary of starting this show. Lots to get to here on Mic'd Up. Coming up, we will get to Everyone Loves a List and talk with Dan Lucero. Jake and Fulton, hour number 2 on a Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining us. We do have Royals baseball tonight. Brady Singer towing the rubber. Will he walk 8 batters in 3 innings?
If he does, Jake, you're going to need a new co-host.
See, you can't let him affect you. You cannot. We talked about this just the last hour. Brad Keller is not going to be part of this Royals team.
But Brady Singer should be. So I reserve my rights to be really upset about that one.
But Brady Singer's not going to walk 8 guys.
No, he's not. No, Brady won't. Brady's command issues don't result in walks. They result in baseballs going 500 feet.
Yes.
Like, it's a different problem for Brady. It's not walks is his problem. It's when his command's gone, it's just everything ends up over the middle at some point. Because Brady, when the command goes, eventually just starts throwing stuff where he thinks it'll kind of go back over, and it goes really back over. Brad just quite literally does it. You know, you and I are both fans of Bull Durham. It's very much the epitome of, I don't know where that ball's going. Swear to God. That's Brad Keller. That's Brad Keller every time he pitches. Except he's not trying to hit the ball.
You want to know the most egregious thing that occurred yesterday?
What's that?
It was the IQ of Fernando Tatis at third base trying to score on a passed ball. Why would you try it? Why? Why would you try that? The guy just walked 2 straight guys. The bases are loaded. Manny Machado is or not Manny Machado. Who I don't remember who was up to. Was it Juan?
I could tell.
No, I think it was Soto who was up to bat. Who walks more than
who was fantastic guy.
Yeah. Why would you risk it? And guess what happened? He walked the bases loaded. Then Manny Machado was up and he got hit.
Yeah.
Like the score shouldn't have been 4-0. It should have been 5-0. Like, why are you risking it? Also, I don't get if Brad Keller makes another start.
Yeah, which he will.
Why on earth would you ever swing at? Why would you ever swing?
If I am facing Brad Keller, that bat's not coming off my shoulder until it's 3-2. The bat's not coming off my shoulder.
He walked 8 guys in 3 innings.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think you could do that.
No pitcher in Royals franchise history had ever walked 8 in fewer innings than 3 2/3.
Did you know that the Royals lead the majors in these 3 categories by an individual? The most walks this year by a pitcher,
Brad Keller,
is 40. It's Brad Keller.
Yeah.
The most home runs allowed this year is?
I don't know the number, but it's Jordan Lyles.
It's Jordan Lyles at 14.
Okay. I didn't know the number. I knew it was Jordan Lyles. I knew that. Because that baby is serving up literal batting practice.
He's going to be playing for the Royals next year.
So, I know we have an entirely different segment to get to here, but I want to bring this up. David Lesky, friend of the program we had on yesterday, brought up a great point. At this point, all you need to do for Jordan Lyles is just start checking off starts till he's DFA'd. He'll be DFA'd midway through next year.
All right, there we go.
Like, at this point, everyone I think the math is down to about 40 more. But just start checking it off. Midway through next year, he'll be DFA'd.
Hey, how many first pitch strikes did Brad Keller have?
1.
10 of 23.
He got 10 of them? Good for him.
He faced 23 batters, 3 innings.
For those of you, just to add some math context at home, the minimum you have to face in a game is 27. And he faced 23 in less than 4 full innings.
Waka faced 24 batters and 7. Yeah. He faced 23 and 3.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh, man. Royals in action tonight. Once again, you have a chance to make money off the Royals like I did. You either bet the money line against the Royals or you bet the run line.
Mm-hmm.
And in this situation, I bet the run line. And so it worked out.
Good for you.
There we go. We got Everyone Loves the List. We're going to go with the Chiefs road games that you would like to go to. So we've got 8 of those. So we'll get to that. And then Dan Lucero will come in, talk a little crosstalk. But right now, the NFL did something yesterday that I'm not shocked that they did, but it goes against everything that they've done in the past that has been so brilliant. The NFL yesterday announced that they're going to have a playoff game on January the 13th. It's a Saturday, and it's the prime time game. Saturday night, 7 o'clock. And it is going to be stream only on Peacock. Some people are saying, Jake, what's the big deal? Amazon Prime is doing it already. There's a difference. And the reason why is, one, there are a lot of people who have Prime for shopping, not the NFL. All right.
No.
We have Amazon Prime at my house, not because of the NFL. We have it because my wife likes to buy stuff. Okay. And everyone out there on the text line, you're feeling me, okay? You know what I'm talking about. All right. It just so happens.
It's just the way you said that.
It just so happens that they put football now on Prime. So that one's pretty easy. But it's also a regular season game. We are talking about playoffs.
We're talking playoffs.
And it says the game will air exclusively on Peacock after the NFL wildcard game on NBC. I am surprised they're doing this because this is the one thing that the NFL has gotten right. Is it's so damn easy to watch your team.
Yeah, it's very easy to consume the product.
You have rabbit ears on your television. You get it. You don't need cable. You don't need to go to a bar. That's it. You just need a television with an antenna. And you can go get a cheap antenna and hook it up to your TV. And it's going to cost you like $9. And you can watch 17 of the 18 games of your team. Because it's all on broadcast. They got $110 million for one game. That's what they paid. $110 million to stream on Peacock. This is some Major League Baseball stuff. Like, this is what Major League Baseball does. They
quite literally do.
They look at it and they go, we'll take the short-term gain when it comes to this. Baseball needs to look at what football has done and make it accessible. How many times have we talked about how many people in this country cannot watch their team play because it's not accessible? If you're a Chiefs fan, you can watch almost every game from your house.
Yeah.
Even if you like you can watch them. So I was surprised at this because the NFL always thinks bigger. Like we want people to watch. It's for our advertisers. Well, how much more money do they need? I get it. It's capitalism. I understand that. But at some point in time, do you realize this? This was incredible. The NFL is going to make $20 billion in revenue. Now, that's revenue. That's not profit, okay? $20 billion in revenue. $100 million to them is nothing. Like $100 million compared to $20 billion. Think about that. Like at some point in time, the NFL just needs to be like, look, let's make it easy. Let's make it easy for everybody. But that's not how they do it. And this is another thing that really got under my skin about this is the NFL is so much of a business. Albert Breer tweeted out, the NFL conducted layoffs due to the economic realities of 2023 while just pulling down $110 million to give a single playoff game to a streaming service. Is a pretty good indicator on who the owners are. You just made $110 million off of one single game. And you laid off 5% of its full-time employees in Los Angeles earlier this month due to, quote, economic and industry-wide shifts. How are you going to lay off people when you just made $110 million off one game?
Mm-hmm.
This is why to me, the NFL they are ruthless. They are a machine that just keeps on churning, and it doesn't matter. This is why. Like, I get why the Haslams did it, because you're gonna watch it no matter what they do. They gave Deshaun Watson $250 million guaranteed because they looked at it long term and said, Browns fans are still going to show up. I don't care if you think he's the worst person in the world. You're still going to cheer. You're still going to come to the game. I'm still going to make money. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
like it does not matter what you think. Like Clark Hunt looked at his players, in that whole NFLPA report, and said, part of me is like, he doesn't give a damn.
No, and here's the thing with the NFL as a whole, and this is where I go to on the whole, they're going to put one of their playoff games stream only. It's twofold. One is they know they ain't got to put, like, the NFL doesn't have to put in work to get viewers. They got him. They got him in the bag. That ship ain't sailing anytime soon. Like, it's different for other sports. Like, baseball is different. They're trying to grow their viewership base. Well, they need to. We don't even have time for me to get into that.
Are they?
The NFL has their viewership base, though. They have it. It ain't going nowhere. Because here's the thing, and this is the other part. This is only the beginning of the games they'll start putting on streaming, and games that might turn to streaming only. Because as of now, unless the current trajectory in the entertainment landscape changes, streaming is going to become more and more of the thing. And I get it. And I understand the plights of a lot of you out there who say of an older generation who, want the game the traditional way. Just want it over the airwaves. It's simpler. It's easier. I get it. I sympathize with that plight. Lord knows I got people in my life who don't want games to be streamed because they ain't going to watch it that way because they really don't know how.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get it. I totally get that. And doing this sometimes does alienate that sect of a fan base. So I get that. The other fact is this, though, folks. Like, those people are still going to watch the games every other way. Like, the older NFL fan, you're still going to be able to watch the majority of your games. Like, maybe the Chiefs wild card game gets to be the Peacock one. We don't know yet. It's going to be one wild card game that gets this way. Maybe that's the case.
Fun fact, it won't be the Chiefs.
Well,
they're going to be the one. They're going to be the one seed. They're going to be the one seed.
They probably will. Here's the thing, though, because like if it isn't the Chiefs, though, it's like, all right, any in the Kansas City area, Kansas City Chiefs area, like not you'll know what I'm saying. Anybody like that? I mean, you're gonna watch the games over the air you're gonna get, and then they're fine with not having you for one game of the week. And as time moves on, as the people that don't engage with streaming phase out, and I'll use that very polite term, their new fan base is a part of this. Like, that's my entire thing when it comes to streaming. It's a thing that more entities are going to get into, and you just got to do it the right way. The NFL is going to slowly move into that space because they know their younger viewership is all on board with it. That younger demo that they have to really start making sure they get like the older demo, y'all ain't going nowhere. And I will not believe a single one of you if you say you're going anywhere. I won't believe you for a second. And that's not to insult you. That's we all know how this game is played.
Oh yeah.
But that younger demo, the people my age or younger, you still need to get the hooks in there.
Mm-hmm.
You got them on the line. You still need to set the hook a bit. And so you got to be a little careful. But they're not going to get alienated by streaming. So if the NFL can start pulling in that demo and get more money from streaming, they're going to start doing it.
It goes back down. It goes back to, alrighty, so Paramount Plus, CBS's streaming service, they're probably going to get a game here soon. Then you got to have Peacock, and then you got to have ESPN Plus, and so now there's a chance that you got to buy 3 different ones to watch an NFL game. Like that's why the NFL does not care about you, man.
No company does. No large major corporation does.
I care about you, Fulton.
Well, you're not a large major corporation. You're a human being, and I appreciate that. You're a human.
I care about that.
Yeah, large corporations, large sports companies, they don't care. They just want their money. And the NFL, above all, knows they've got your money.
They just laid off people after gaining $110 million.
Because they have no hearts and they have no souls. Yeah, the NFL and large companies have no souls.
Embarrassing.
Yeah.
Embarrassing. Coming up next, the NFL's machine rolls on. Everyone loves the list. We are going with the road trips that we would take to watch the Chiefs this year. Everyone loves the list. We are going road trips. All right. What road trips are you going on for the Chiefs this year? So if I say you get to pick one, that would be your top one.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get to go
sending
two.
it. Yeah,
there you go.
Usual way.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4 for me, Minnesota. Go to the Vikings. Nice stadium. I like Minnesota. Be a good time.
They're playing Minnesota.
Week 5, October 8th.
Okay, so
you're not too deep in the Minnesota winter either.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
Number 4 for me, the Green Bay Packers.
Wow, only 4.
Yeah, Lambeau number 4.
It's because to be Lambeau in December.
Mainly, yeah, I don't like being cold.
Yeah, you don't like that. You're not about that life.
No, if this game was if this game was in October or September,
okay,
I'd be on board with it.
That's
but
fair.
That is December 3rd? Yeah. I'd love to go to it. I mean, it's still one of its top 4.
Yeah, that's still good. Yeah,
Green Bay number 4.
Number 3 for me. New York. Go see the Jets. Get a little trip to New York City. Vibe up there for a little bit. And I mean, Middleland's kind of nice. But you can see Rodgers and Mahomes, hopefully.
Number 3 for me is the New York Jets. I'm with you. I like New York. Granted, we're not going to New York. You're going to Jersey.
You build around and you find some time to actually go to New York instead of Jersey for a little bit.
Yeah.
You make it work. Yeah. Number 2 for me, Las Vegas. Vegas is fun. Vegas is a very fun city. And Allegiant is kind of a nice stadium. Plus, I mean, the Chiefs will just beat the crap out of the Raiders, so it's fun too.
I also went with the Raiders number 2. It's Vegas. Vegas is
great,
fun.
Man. I love Vegas.
I go to Vegas differently now than when I used to go.
Okay, it's fair.
I used to go for the party scene.
Now you just go to gamble.
Well, that and people don't realize the food in Vegas is
awesome. Good food in Vegas.
The
real
food
good.
in Vegas
That's
is
true.
Fun. Yes.
Number 1 for me, it's easy. It's Green Bay and it's Lambeau. It's like going to go to Lambeau. You get to see the historicness of Lambeau Field and the Packers. Plus, I like cold and I like cold football. December game at Lambeau, sign me up.
You're number 1 for me. I'm going to Germany, man.
See, I did not put that on my list as a technicality. It is not a road game.
Where are they playing at?
I understand it's being played in Germany. I kept it off for the technicality integrity of it's not technically a road game.
It is. Are they playing at Arrowhead?
No.
Then it's a road game.
Technically a home
I'm
game.
going to Germany.
I will say that if I included it, would have been number 1.
Frankfurt all the way. Get me a Frankfurter.
Oh, man.
Have some warm beer. Hell yeah. Coming up next, Dan Lucero joins us for a little crosstalk. It is Tuesday, which means Fulton has to answer the question, what are the odds that the Royals lose 100 games? And our favorite edition, it's becoming my favorite segment on the show, just to see what Fulton ends up happening. Also, Fulton, today, if the Royals don't win today, how many losses is that going to be in a row?
5.
And I said the Royals are going to lose 5 games in a row at least twice the rest of the year. And that would knock it out the very first opportunity. I hate it here.
Yeah.
Royals in action tonight. So my first question to Dan Lucero from 580 Sports Talk, who steps on in.
What's happening?
What are the odds that the Royals lose 100 games?
Oh, they're starting to look better in a bad way. They'd have to win. So 12-31 after last night. That's 43 games, which means there are 119 left.
Yep.
Royals have to win 51 of those 119. They play 51-68 the rest of the way.
And that's the reason why, Dan, I said it's not 51-68. It's 51-70, or no, 51-58. Because they're going to lose 5 games in a row twice. So already knock that out of the book.
That's some fuzzy math. I don't know if I approve of the fuzzy math. But,
So right now, I'm going to bet you both. The Royals will have 2 5-game losing streaks the rest of this year. Are you guys going to disagree with me?
I'm not disputing that.
Okay.
That tends to happen to bad teams.
Yeah,
but
that's what I thought.
So they have to play at a 69 win pace the rest of the season from today onward. If they play like a 69 win team, which is roughly what Vegas thought they were going to be when the season began, they can still avoid 100 losses. Since that's not completely out of the question, I'm going to say, I'm going to quote Bernie Mac from Bad Santa here, 50-50.
So you're 50-50.
50-50.
Fulton, mark that down.
I'm already on it.
Mark that down.
For posterity's sake here, I've been keeping track of this for both you, for any time you or Brendan said to answer the question when I answered the question.
First of all, that's the highest number we
Yes,
had?
that's what to get to. That Dan has now set the new high mark. Dan is the highest percentage ever recorded for this question this year.
Because help is not on the way. You guys kind of laid that out earlier on the program that when it comes to the pitching staff, help is not on the way.
That's why you don't
not in the wave you need it.
That's why you shouldn't get upset that Brad Keller, who walks 8 guys in 3 innings, he ain't gonna be part of the next team.
You can get upset at having to watch Brad Keller walk the ballpark. That was gross.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
that was truly revolting.
Painful.
Nah, that wasn't. I
sickening.
I laughed. I was more upset that Fernando Tatis had just the brain dead dumb IQ to try to score on a pass ball when you're gonna get walked in, and he would have.
They did him some favors. They definitely did him some favors.
What's worse, 8 walks in 3 innings, or the fact that you couldn't field a ground ball that my 3-year-old son could have fielded?
That was kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm not kidding.
That
My
was pretty
son,
funny.
I have thrown a ball on the ground to my son harder than that, and he has his little glove. Yeah, he would at least knocked it down. Went through his legs,
right through the wickets. That's tough.
Do you know what the over/under on win totals is right now for the Royals? Like, if you want to bet, you can still bet season-long win totals. I think it's up until like June 1st, and then they wipe it because it's too much. But what do you think the win total is for the Royals right now? If you want to bet over/under wins, what's the number?
I will guess. I haven't looked at this. I will guess 61.5.
I will guess 58.5.
You are both incorrect. It is 60.5.
I was closer, but he was low, man. So
yeah,
$1, Bob.
Price is right rules. 60.5. What are you taking, Fulton?
Over.
60.5.
It's a good number. It's a good number.
Yeah.
Anytime the number is, you got to think. Unlike the Chiefs of 11.5. I don't understand that one.
So the pace right now, if anybody is wondering,
they're at like a 47.
45.
Yeah.
The pace is 45.
Fulton, you want to go ahead and say it?
I want to be very, very clear. If they only win 45 games,
they will have lost more than 5 in a row twice.
I might need to seek some professional help.
Might have to consider folding the franchise at that point.
I might have to consider abandoning and joining another team's fan base and just punting everything.
Real quick, okay, fun discussion. What is
fun?
Fun discussion.
What about this is fun?
No, what is the line for you to abandon your fanhood for your team? What's the line?
They'd have to move.
That's the line.
That's the line for me. Is they would have to move.
For me, it's they'd have to move or something so egregiously bad off the field
because
happens with such a large chunk of the organization. That I go like if I was a Browns fan and they did all that for the nasty man, I'd consider not being a Browns fan anymore.
Okay.
Because I personally draw a line right there of not only the human being coming into the room, but
if
the financial commitment to that type of human being.
If my team started employing like some really bad guys, like for baseball, like it's one thing to employ Aroldis Chapman, but if you got like 4 or 5 guys with a rap sheet like Aroldis Chapman and you're just bringing them in and you don't care.
Yeah.
Like,
but then once they're all gone, are you going to go back to the team?
Yeah, depends on who's making the decisions.
That's where you go.
But no, for me, it would be moving the team because so much of being a fan is beyond the wins and losses. It's the connection to your hometown or your home state or going to those games when you were a kid, or watching them on TV, listening to them on the radio.
Yeah,
like if that goes away, if there is no longer that connection, then I don't have a connection and not something I can root for. So that's the line. That's the line. And I say that as somebody who has also been mistreated by my favorite baseball team, losing a lot. They would have to move. That would be the line.
Because like great example.
What a depressing conversation. You said this was going to be fun.
Yeah, he did.
Jake.
He said this was going to be fun.
You said excited to have Dan on. We're a fun topic.
Okay.
Depression hour.
Hold on. But the reason why I'm with you guys on the losing aspect of, because eventually every team does end up having a winning season here or there.
Yeah, it levels out.
You know, like the Royals are a great example. They were just awful from 1990 to 2013.
Yeah.
I mean, they were just awful. Okay.
Wasn't
Awful,
great.
Awful.
And then they won for a very nice little stretch. And it was great.
It was great. You know,
and then we're back to this.
You know, right now, I think the team that's been what team has been the worst across all four franchise? I would say the Kings, but the Kings gave you a little love this year, right? It was the Kings.
I mean, true, and I think they can even still be a good example. Like the Kings were not just bad; they were laughing stock of the NBA bad for forever.
You know,
but even that kind of team eventually,
that's what I'm saying.
Come back up.
Yeah. That's
the Lions. They haven't won a playoff game.
Haven't won a playoff game. Oh, they've only won one ever since the NFL AFL merger. They've won one playoff game.
That's tough.
Oh boy, that's not good.
And they're gonna get smoked by the Chiefs.
But even their fans feel good right now. Like their fans feel good, and positive, and optimistic. They get to open the season. It's gonna be the first game. They get that spotlight. So, yeah, there are not a lot of teams out. Like really, if you're talking about franchises with no light at the end of the tunnel, or the light being an oncoming train or moving truck, as it were, it's Oakland. It's the A's. They've got it the worst. Their fans right now have it the worst. Because that team is 9-34, and they're not long for Oakland. I mean, it doesn't get any worse than that.
They've now got two options in Vegas now, not just one, but two options. Like right where the Tropicana is, you know where the Tropicana
and
is?
the more
right next to
the more it
MGM.
is sounding like that's the spot.
They've also got a 721 team earned run average. So if you think the Royals are bad on the bump,
well, they did beat the Royals.
Well, 2 out of 3. Anybody can beat anybody 2 out of 3.
The Royals have only done that once this year.
Anyone can beat anyone.
Which
2 out of
is
3.
Yeah, it proves my point.
The Giants. The Giants got to be looking at themselves going, man.
Also, to that point, the Royals also beat the White Sox 3 out of 4.
They did. You're right. I forgot. Well done. See?
That's even more recently than the Giants thing.
Yeah, I know. I forgot about that. Yeah.
But that's the overall point. Like, it's when I've said numerous times the A's are worse than the Royals, and everyone likes to go, well, the A's did win the series. That's one series out of a gigantic season. When this season comes to an end, the Royals will be above the A's in the standings. Now, granted, that is a really low bar to clear.
Yep.
I'm not like trying to add some pride to that statement. There's no pride at all to that statement. But it's just the fact of the reality of the situation.
From the text line, I think the 2013, 14, 15 World Series runs created a whole new generation of Royals fans.
And guess what? That generation is now getting to understand what the overall situation of this franchise is.
How many of those, what's the percentage of those fans that they generated now
that are still here?
Don't care.
I got nothing.
Like, how much did they waste that stretch?
I don't know.
That's a great question, and
I truly don't know.
I'm sure they've got some bean counters that can answer that with some numbers, with some dollars and cents figures. But certainly, if you don't sustain the winning, and in fact, it turns into what it's turned into,
you lose.
Yeah,
a lot.
You know that generation of fans who, you know, maybe they weren't big baseball fans, but they got to experience that. Maybe their parents were, you know, rediscovering the Royals at the time, that kind of thing. Like those kids, like 10, 11, 12-year-old kids. Yeah, those kids are off in college, and they're not wearing Royals fitteds to class.
And the reason I say when you gain fans, I'm talking about gaining fans when your team is not winning. Because when you win, everybody wants to be involved.
Yep.
The Royals fans who will watch the games when they're winning, to me, that's not a fan. You're just there because your team is winning. You know, you're the front runner. You know, you're the bandwagon.
That's fine.
But that's to me though. Like, did you gain anything? You're gonna get those fans regardless if you won.
Oh, you're speaking organizationally.
Yeah, like the Royals fans who watch it when they're winning, they're gonna watch it locally because it's the local team and they're winning. Everybody supports a winner. But how many people did they gain because of that are still there? That's what I kind of wonder. All right, we're going to get to this in the 2:00 hour, Dan.
Okay.
Boy, college realignment, it got kicked up into high gear. So we will go into more of a discussion on it. But right now, the ACC in a little bit of, I don't want to say turmoil until it becomes a little bit more on the record.
They're unhappy.
They are unhappy. And right now, the ACC not in a good situation. If you were Brett Yormark and you can pick a team from the ACC, you can pick a team from the Pac-12, how are you going about this? And I will be the other institution. I will be like the ACC and the Pac-12, and I will tell you, no, we're not going to do it, or yes, we're going to do it.
Okay. I need my geographic outliers to be less of geographic outliers.
Okay.
So if let's say I get to expand to 16 teams, I need friends for my geographic outliers. I need Utah. I have to get Utah from the Pac-12.
Okay. Utah says, yes, we'll go. You got Utah. Congratulations.
Okay. Sick. Awesome. This is easy. I want Pitt. My pitch.
Put Pitt in.
Put Pitt in. I want Pitt. And the reason I want Pitt is because it's a really easy sell for them. And I think West Virginia has always kind of felt like the odd team out in this conference. You give them their historic rival. You say you get the backyard brawl every year again. And it's a conference game. And you get two of them in basketball. Like, welcome in.
The vibes for those games would be immaculate.
And it's a good, Cincinnati, West Virginia, Pitt. I mean, they're all kind of like right there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Pitt, good job. You got Pitt now.
Sweet.
I got you on Pitt. Okay.
All right. I want Colorado back for the for the what do you call
Nostalgia.
it? Nostalgia's sake.
Okay.
I want Colorado back, and then I need a team. UCF now becomes your big geographic outlier.
Okay.
I need somebody from the Southeast. The ACC is splintering. Maybe Miami. Maybe you think about Miami.
Okay, well, I need to know. Like, who are you going with?
I love it. I love it, but I'm not in love with it. Sure. What the heck? Invite Miami.
Miami's not on board going to the Big 12. You got to choose somebody else.
Okay. Yeah, because it feels like they'll do what I think they kind of want to go with Florida State, Clemson. They still fancy themselves a football brand on that level. I don't know. You could go with another Northeastern institution to give the Northeast somebody else to play with and throw and you could throw Boston College in the mix. I don't think they really fit. What about Louisville?
You want Louisville?
Well, Louisville.
Louisville says, okay, we'll go. So you're four. If you'd rank them, it would go.
If of those four, I would make Louisville my top priority.
Yeah,
I would say
right,
Louisville, Arizona, Pitt, Colorado in that order.
Louisville, Arizona?
Yeah, not Arizona, Utah. Sorry, Louisville, Utah.
Louisville,
Pitt, Arizona.
Utah,
Pitt, Colorado.
Okay.
I keep saying Arizona. I don't know.
So your 16-team conference would be right currently the Big 12 as it stands.
Mm-hmm.
Louisville, Pitt, and then Utah and Colorado. That would be your 16-team conference.
That is my coast to coast conference.
So Miami, you get rid of Miami then.
Yeah.
So what
if Miami's not in it?
Well, okay, what if Miami says yes?
If Miami says yes, then probably have to get rid of Colorado.
Get rid of Colorado.
Yeah, Colorado's at the bottom of that list. So yeah.
So yours would be Louisville.
Yeah, I'm looking. I guess I'm looking eastward.
Okay, no, that's fine.
Yeah.
This is the fun thing that we're going to get to is this could all be potentially at play. Like Brett Yormark is like he is the opposite of when Commissioner Beebe was at the helm. He is the aggressor. How long have we waited for the Big 12 to be the aggressor?
Long time.
We talked about it yesterday. Brett McMurphy said that Oregon and Northwestern have been vetted and cleared by the Big Ten, but that the Big Ten and Fox don't want to have the blood on their hands of ending the Pac-12. Because if Oregon and Washington leave, the Pac-12 is done, and then the Big 12 can pick whoever the hell they want. Since when do teams and cable companies care about, the feelings of a conference? Because for 20 years, nobody seemed to give a damn about the Big 12, but now all of a sudden we're giving a crap about the Pac-12? Why?
That's a good question.
Why?
I don't have a great answer for you.
Like if the Big 10, if they're vetted and cleared, and it's whether or not the Big 10, well, if they're vetted and cleared, shoot them a DM right now. Hey, you up? Join the conference. Like, it makes too much sense for them not to, because then you've got your pot of 4 over there with USC and UCLA, Oregon and Washington. You got your pot of 4 with Nebraska, Illinois, Wisconsin, and Iowa or Minnesota. And then you combine another 4 there in the middle with Northwestern, Purdue, Indiana, and Ohio State. Then you got Michigan State, Rutgers, and Maryland. I mean, Penn State,
18. Yeah, an odd number.
Yeah,
at that point, yeah, you're up to, because they're up to 16 with the addition of USC, UCLA. So
so they're good right now.
They get up to 18.
Okay, you do it in groups of 9, whatever. I don't care. But like, it makes too much sense. So if they're vetted and clear, why are you carrying why do you care about those other teams?
Well, there are long-standing network relationships with that conference, but yeah, I wouldn't think that would be the roadblock to everybody making more money in a different scenario.
Do you think it happens? Do you think all of this ends up coming together?
I don't know. Like the thing that I think ESPN will try and do is make sure the ACC folks are happy and the ACC stays together, because I think ESPN has an interest in the ACC staying together.
Oh, yeah.
We talk about network interest. I think there's definitely one there.
All righty.
So we'll see.
I'm excited. We'll see where we would go. I'm got your 4. Fulton's got his 4. I got my 4. Should be a lot of fun. What do you got today of Sports Talk?
We're going to talk about that Brad Keller outing, mostly just to shake our heads at it. We're going to talk about the Chiefs. Do they need another pass rusher? There is a little bit of a free agent market for pass rushers. We're going to talk about that. We're going to celebrate the 1-year anniversary of the new 580 Sports Talk.
Dan, have a good one.
Hey, thanks.
Coming up, who do we want to expand for the Big 12? And we'll get to a little odds makers. Three here on this Tuesday. Overcast clouds here in Topeka. Royals baseball tonight. Brady Singer towing the rubber for the Kansas City Royals. 8 o'clock pregame coverage. 8:40 first pitch. Some cat named Seth Lugo is going to pitch for the Padres. He hasn't done bad this year. ERA 3.18. That's pretty damn good. Doesn't walk hardly anybody, just 9 walks. How about that? Seth Lugo in 39 innings has walked 9. Ed Keller walked 8 and 3 1/3. Wow. That's incredible. Brady Singer, his ERA is just under a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. So not ideal, but his last start, he was very good.
Mm-hmm.
Very good.
Mm-hmm.
He also faced the White Sox.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to wait and see what happens here with the Padres.
Yeah.
So let us know your thoughts. As always, hit us up on our text line, 785-272-9429. You can also give us a shout out on our Fleming Place Wine and Spirits phone line. Check us out on YouTube. From the text line, we talked about fans. This is a great case here. I was a super casual fan who didn't really care what the Royals did. Then I fell in love with the team during that fun stretch, and I've been faithful ever since. But this year is hard, like real hard to get into it. Yeah.
Yep. This is my life. This is what my life has been.
And see, that's the thing where
for over 20 plus years of existence of being a Royals fan.
See, here's the thing about the Royals.
That's what it is.
Here's the thing about the Royals is that stretch of 13, 14, 15, 16, and even 17.
17 was still there.
Yeah. You had 5 fun years.
Mm-hmm.
And
felt great.
All you had to do was not be dog doo-doo for like 6 straight years.
Mm-hmm.
And this year, is now 7 years. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So 6 years, I beg your pardon. That's like, but this is the problem is like this year you were like just a little bit of expectations. Oh, what I would give for mediocre Royals baseball, the good old days, back when you could actually watch them. I can't make myself pay for this product. And like, that's the thing. Yeah. Sometimes you gotta pay to make some money. Right? Sometimes you got to spend some money to make some money.
Which I hope John Sherman maybe does it.
Yeah.
If John Sherman wants a new stadium, he's going to need to.
We'll talk a little bit more Royals here to finish off this edition of Mic'd Up. All right. Let's get to the news when it comes to the college football realignment. So we told you about the report yesterday from Brett McMurphy that Washington and Oregon have been cleared, and it's kind of up to the Big Ten and Fox what they want to do. Remember, the new Big Ten has not included ESPN at all. It is all the Big Ten Network and Fox. That's what it is. USC and UCLA going to the Big Ten. We know what the Big 12 is done. They are now going to have 14 teams with Oklahoma and Texas, but they're leaving to go to the ACC after this coming year. What's the Pac-12 going to do? Well, if they sign a contract, a TV deal, TV contract, I don't know what really Oregon and Washington are going to do because they have one foot out the door. Well, now the ACC is interesting because the ACC is signed through 2036. I have read, now I am not a lawyer. I am a few credits shy of my Juris Doctorate. I don't know if you know that, Fulton, but I'm not all the way there.
Just a little bit short.
Not all the way there. I am like I'm an attorney, as like Dr. Pepper's a doctor, okay? But there are rumors that the Clemsons and the Florida States are trying to see if they can get out of the grant of rights to the ACC. Now, there's a penalty from what we saw from Ross Dellinger of Sports Illustrated, about $120 million. That's a lot of money. So how ironclad is it? According to most lawyers, pretty ironclad. Not a lot of wiggle room. Except, what if they get enough schools to end it?
Yeah.
The good old majority rules. How many schools are in the ACC?
Are they just at 16?
They're at 14.
14.
They're at 14.
Okay, 14.
They're at 14.
So 8 would be that just little tick over 50%.
Yes. So there's been some reports, not reports, but just rumors circulating that the ACC has 7 schools ready to exit, needing an 8th to end it. Apparently now there is an 8th school that could cross the picket line, if you will. So let's say that happens. Let's just have fun with it, okay? Because really, when it comes to conference realignment, outside of Washington State joining the Big Ten, that's never going to happen. I mean, I didn't really need to poke, the Cougs there. That was kind of
You didn't. That was kind of rude, but also funny.
Let's go with Oregon State then.
Okay. The Beavs.
Okay, Corvallis, right? So let's just have some fun with it. Let's say that the ACC is done, all right? And you're Brett Yormark. And Brett Yormark is a man who's willing to be aggressive.
Be aggressive.
Yes.
I got you.
So, what are you doing? What are your schools? We asked Dan, what were his 4 schools to make your Big 12 conference? Are you going brands? Are you going travel partners? What are you doing?
So, would you like 2 from the ACC, 2 from the Pac-12?
I don't care
okay.
what you do.
Okay,
You're
Brett
Yormark.
Yeah. So when I looked at this, I think it needs to be a combination of brands that improve basketball and football, and some geographic sense, because I still think at some level conferences should help the geography of the situation. So much like Dan, my ACC teams were in the same vein. It's Louisville and it's Pitt. Because Pitt, I think for football and basketball actually does give you some competitiveness. It's not top tier in either, but they're not doormats for most years. And elevating to the Big 12 can help with recruiting and things like that. Plus, the Backyard Brawl is a great rivalry. It really is.
Rivalries don't matter anymore, though. We found that
They
out.
matter to me. They matter to me,
okay.
dang it.
Okay. No, but this is your product.
So I think if you add Pitt, you get another East Coast travel partner for West Virginia. The Backyard Brawl becomes a conference game you can have every year, which I think will elevate its status and kind of help with some eyeballs and things like that, get people on the screen. So I think from a business standpoint, it makes sense as well. And Louisville, I think, just fits so nicely in the geographic sense of where the Big 12 is and all the teams around it. Plus, Louisville football can be competitive at its peaks, has enjoyed some good parts. And Louisville basketball, despite this past year, holy Lord, I don't know what to call what they were doing. It definitely wasn't basketball on that court. They have had a lot of success in the past. And so I think you can build. So I think from a competitive standpoint and a geographic standpoint, those are your 2 ACC teams you could take. Plus, I think given that they're standing in the ACC, you're not shooting too high. I could say all I want. Well, Clemson being in to be super cool. You ain't getting Clemson. They're going to the SEC if they leave. So being realistic, that's who you get. And then I would add 2 teams from the Pac-12, which it's always such a trying to really analyze what it should be. I've settled on these 2. Colorado, because I like the nostalgia, and I can't lie. I kind of want the Buffs back. Like, just bring them back. And I think if you put them in the Big 12 and got the right thing around it, they would spend on athletics and be a competitive member.
Right now, Colorado doesn't care about athletics.
They don't, and that's my worry, is even if you bring them in, they'll still be that way. But maybe this whole Deion Sanders thing sparks a fire under their butts, and they get moving. Who knows? And then for me, I think I actually go Arizona. Because
Arizona down in Tucson.
I think you go Arizona. Again, the whole geographic thing, it fits in well. It goes with there. And I think from a brand perspective and an overall perspective, I think Arizona fits better. The Big 12 needs an identity. And we talk about this all the time. Conferences need identities. The Big 12 can identify itself as the basketball conference.
Okay.
Everyone talks about football, and get it. Our football's not going to be a slouch. But if you want to look for the best basketball in Division I in college, you look at the Big 12, you look nowhere else. You got Arizona basketball to that mix. Their historically good run they've been on. Then your basketball now includes Arizona, KU, Houston with their current swing that they are on is incredible. Like, those are 3 top 5 teams perennially lately. Louisville has a history of being able to compete. You add them in there. Pitt can compete. You add them in there. Colorado's kind of But like, of your new teams, Arizona basketball, I think, is such a brand that you're now adding to it. I think you've covered some geographic bases. I think you've touched on so many different levels. I don't think you've dropped down the quality on either of your 2 flagship sports. And I think, in fact, you've actually raised the quality by bringing Arizona basketball into the fold. Utah, I'd be a fan of. I love my folks out in Utah. I love the Utes. The Ute football team has won me more than a few shekels in my lifetime. But I just don't know about the fit. I really don't.
Okay.
They fit with BYU and the travel partner, but I don't know. So I'd go Arizona, Colorado, Louisville, and Pitt. That's where I'd go.
Okay. Here's what I would do if I was Brett Yormark. How many teams are in the SEC when you add Texas and Oklahoma?
Does that put them to 18?
16.
16.
Because they're at 14
This
right
math
now.
is hard.
Yeah. They're
16.
They're at 14 right now.
Yeah.
You add 2, that gets them to 60. Okay. How many teams are in the Big 10 when you add USC and UCLA?
16?
16. Okay. Here's what I do.
What are you doing?
I get to 20.
Oh, we're spicy.
Because here's what I think. If the ACC implodes, then you basically have 3 conferences. And here's how I would get to 20 on all 3 of them. You ready? If I were a 16-team conference, 16 teams, I would add Louisville and Pitt, and I would add Arizona and Arizona State. Utah and Colorado don't bring enough to me for that situation. So Arizona, Arizona State, Louisville, and then Pitt, just because it makes a lot of sense there. If you go to 20 teams, so 16, Colorado, until they actually show that they care. Now, I don't know how long Deion's going to be there. No idea. Don't even know if Deion's going to work there. He might. It might be great. But I'm not. I'm going to go with Arizona and Arizona State over Colorado and Utah. I go Louisville for sure. Then it comes down to Pitt or Miami. And I would end up going with Pitt. If I go 20 teams, it's real simple for me. Really simple. You go Arizona, Arizona State, Colorado, Utah. All right. That gets you to 16. Then I add Louisville, Pitt, Miami. You got to get Miami in that situation if you're going to 20. I think there's an argument that you could put Miami in over Pitt. Because you got Louisville is right there next to West Virginia. Louisville's pretty close to Pitt. There you got a couple travel partners there. And as we found out, no one really cares about travel. Okay. So I go Louisville, Pitt, Miami. And then it comes down to one team. All right. And I'm going to give you the last team after. So here's what's going to end up happening. Oregon and Washington go to the Big Ten. Okay. So then they're at 18 teams. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Notre Dame joins the Big Ten because they got to. Okay. So now they're at 19. The Big 12 is at 19. Okay. When you add Louisville, Pitt, Arizona, Arizona State, Colorado, and Utah. So you got those 2 conferences are at 19. This all makes sense. Oregon and Washington join USC, UCLA. You go to the Big Ten. Right. Notre Dame fits in the Big Ten. Right. So they go to Notre Dame. All right. They're at 19. The Big 10 or Big 12 is at 19. What does the SEC do? Right. They're at 14 right now. You add Oklahoma and Texas. That's 16. All right. Here's what you do if you are the SEC. You bring in, and this is why I would get Miami before the SEC does.
Okay.
I would go after Clemson and Florida State. Now, I get you at what? I get you at 18. So now the ACC is at 18. The Big 12 is at 19. The Big 10 is at 19. There are a few schools left. If I'm the ACC, I go after North Carolina. Or the Big 10. If I'm the Big 10, I go after North Carolina. If I'm the Big 12, I would go after North Carolina. But I think North Carolina would say, no, we're going to go to the Big 10.
Yeah.
So that's what I would do if I was North Carolina. My dream would be Louisville, Pitt, North Carolina, and Miami.
Yeah,
that's my dream.
If I could get whoever I want, if I could get that, North Carolina to get to the Big 12
would be huge.
Because again, if we're talking brand, like you got to brand, you got to brand yourself.
I just don't think that they would join the Big 12.
No, the Big 10's going to come calling it. That's just
exactly.
That's a much more financially better footing for them, and I can't blame them for that
because that university. Has
fits
got
everything in what they're doing.
The 3 best universities in the ACC right now are Florida State, Clemson, and North Carolina. And then the next 3, are the Miamis of the world. So if I can get North Carolina, I get North Carolina. But I don't think they can. So I think North Carolina and Notre Dame join the Big 10 along with Oregon and Washington. Now, the SEC's got 16. You add Clemson and Florida State. That makes too much sense. That's 18.
Yeah.
So what do they do? That's the biggest question on who do they try to get. Georgia Tech probably seems the most logical for the SEC. So if
They
Georgia
already
Tech
played
goes
Georgia
there,
every year.
yep, that is now 19. So if I am the Big 12, I would probably try to go after either NC State, or do you go after Duke? The SEC will not take Duke. I don't know if the Big Ten would rather have North Carolina because that is a better overall brand than Duke.
And I will say this, though. If they could get both North Carolina and Duke.
They don't have enough space because they're going to take Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Unless Notre Dame says we are going to stay independent forever, you can't. They're going to have to align with somebody, in my opinion.
I think so, too.
So that means you're basically, if you are the Big 12, if we all think, Clemson and North Carolina, Florida State are not on the board.
Yeah.
And you go after Louisville, makes so much sense there. I go after Miami, and the reason why I go after Miami is because of it is Florida. So that leaves you with Boston College, no chance. Okay. Georgia Tech, I think more fits in the SEC, but it wouldn't stun me if they wanted to go after them. But the three that you'd go after that I think you could get would be Louisville, Miami, and Pitt. Would Virginia, the Cavaliers, Syracuse, I don't see as an option. I don't think Virginia Tech, although they're kind of like NC State, they're kind of like that fourth one. Of the four, it would be either Virginia Tech or Virginia.
Yeah.
Or Georgia Tech, one of those three.
Well,
Boston College is not a fit.
Yeah.
Syracuse is not going to be a fit if you're already taking Pitt, Louisville, and Miami. Barring that, Clemson and Florida State are not even an option.
No, they're doing their own thing.
If they are an option, then you go after Florida State and you go after Clemson.
Yeah, like if you think
you don't even worry about Louisville.
No,
you don't even worry about.
If you could grab
Pitt.
those two, it would do so much. I will see this is with the idea of the realignment, all these different teams, everything like that. If a school has overall cachet, then you go for them. But if you can't get the ones with the overall cachets, like the Clemsons and the Florida States, to me, Brett Yormark, it's very simple. Who's got the best basketball programs? It's a weird thing to be doing
now, but with the ACC, now this is all under the ACC collapses.
Yeah,
I don't know,
but that's my point though. Like for some of those ACC schools, if you start to like pick and choose between them, you need like if you're trying to figure out first, should be like Virginia or Virginia Tech, or like even like between Virginia and Louisville, you take Virginia if they're willing to come, because again, like you can market yourself.
I think they already can market that. You don't need any more.
Well, you can, but it strengthens it's about strengthening your positioning.
I think your position's already a strength there, and I think you go with overall.
I think
because that's I just don't see. I see the SEC going, yeah, we'd rather have Clemson and Florida State. That's why I don't think that's a realistic possibility. That's why I think it's interesting if you get to 20.
Yeah.
Right now, they could easily get to 16. But then do you go with Louisville and whoever? I'd go with North Carolina. And I would probably leave Clemson out. I would probably say I'll go with North Carolina and Florida State. If I could bring in North Carolina and Florida State from the ACC, that's what I'd do. That would be my two teams. So then you'd have your 16, and then you would still need two others from, and I would go Arizona State. I don't think Utah is going to be there in the long term. I think Arizona State brings more to the table than Colorado.
Yeah.
Because Colorado is essentially Denver and then a bunch of small towns. And when I say small towns, like Boulder's big and Fort Collins, all that kind of stuff, Colorado Springs. But Denver only cares about one thing: professional sports. They don't care about college sports. The city of Denver does not care about college sports. Yeah. And we can run over to Dan's office right now and say, Dan, does Denver care about college sports? He will tell you no. So that's why I don't have Colorado. Would I like Colorado, me individually as a person and my feelings, right? Yes, I would. But business-wise, it does not make sense to me. So I would go Arizona, Arizona State, Florida State, and North Carolina if I could pick any of them. I don't see Florida State, North Carolina joining the Big 12. I can dream, though, right?
Yeah.
It all depends. And I guarantee you, if they're not, like if North Carolina, if Florida State, if Clemson, all these schools are not at least on a burner phone as an AD talking to Brett Yormark right now, or talking to SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey, you are failing at your job right now. Would you be interested in this? You know,
no.
There's so much backdoor wheeling and dealing going on. If that does occur, I think getting to 20, because I do think Oregon and Washington are eventually going to join the Big Ten, and that's going to get them to 18. And I think if you can find a way to 20, now you got 3 conferences that are filled with 20 teams each. You need to be in one of those 20 team conferences. Because if you are the Boston Colleges, the Syracuses, the Washington States, the Oregon States, what you are relying on, just like a lot of what the Big 12 was relying on. The Big 12 was relying on being in the right spot at the right time. The Big 12 was so close. And when I say the Big 12, KU and K-State were so close to essentially being in an American conference. Because if Oklahoma, Texas, Oklahoma State, and Texas Tech, or whatever the 4 schools they were, that were going to leave the Big 12 and join the Pac-12 back in like 2011 or 2012 or whenever that was. I hate to break it, but KU and K-State were going to end up in the today's version of the American. And so the smaller schools relied upon the leadership and the foresight to see the future. Right now, if you were Washington State and Oregon State and Cal, you were reliant on the rest of the Pac-12 to be the aggressor and go out and get them. That's why schools like Vanderbilt, you know, and even to the point of like South Carolina, you know, they're in good because of where they're at. Missouri made the smart decision to go there. Nebraska, they made the smart decision. They are locked into the Big Ten. They are locked into the SEC. So it just depends on what schools you want to add. And that's why it's the scary thing is if you're Oregon and Washington, you think, yeah, we're going to end up in the Big Ten, we'll be fine. But even if they're like, what can we do? If I'm the Big 12, those are the first 2 schools I add from the Pac-12 is Oregon and Washington. Yeah. I know it makes no sense geographically, but right now, BYU and Central Florida are in the same conference.
Exactly.
Does not make sense.
Geography's gone. Let's stop pretending it matters.
Out the window. Okay. USC and UCLA are in the Big Ten. Maryland and Rutgers are in the Big Ten. Direction doesn't matter anymore. So I don't know if the ACC will. I don't know if it's true that some of the rules are, if they get to 8 members, the conference agreement, you know, it comes to an end. I have no idea. That's the only way it does happen. I want to point this out. All the stuff that we've talked about, the only way the ACC will end up collapsing is if there is something in the ACC bylaws and contract and the grant of rights that says if over half the conference wants to leave, then the grant of rights is gone. And Dan brought up a great point. Well, ESPN doesn't want that to happen. A lot of moving parts. Coming up next, little odds makers here on Mic'd Up. The odds the Royals lose 100 games. Mind you, the over-under now on Vegas is 60.5. So the over still doesn't get you to 100. Or it does get you to 100, beg your pardon.
Yeah, he's 61 and 101.
Dan went 50-50. Mm-hmm. What was my last number? Was that 30?
I don't know. I don't have you tracked.
Well, let's start me. I think it's 40% right now.
Okay, well, give me a minute. Let me end.
Yeah, I'm at 40%.
You're at 40?
Yeah, not quite 50-50. I'm at 40.
Yeah. Man, the graph I make out of this at the end of the season is going to be beautiful. With just some weird data points along it, because you three are going to have like interspersed, unlike me at a weekly rate. But that'll still work. We can still make data. This we really can. I'm at 10.
This is the highest it's ever been for you, Fulton.
Yep, new high. 10.
So you still think?
I still believe this offense will keep them from too many losses. And I legitimately believe the pitching gets better at the end of the year because better players are on the roster. Like, I think at some point, Brad Keller's not a starter on this team this season. I think as soon as they have the bodies, that man's going back to the bullpen. Because they were going to do it last year. And then there were the other changes and what have you and whatnot. No, I think Brad Keller goes to the bullpen. I still think, psychotically or not, that Brady Singer turns it around. And maybe it doesn't reach what he was in 22, but is not this cellar dweller guy. Like, I think his real self is in the middle. And then I think until I am proven wrong, which is when he pitches for the Royals, I still think Daniel Lynch is going to be good to a level. Like, I'm, again, not saying all of a sudden Daniel Lynch is going to look like, prime Randy Johnson out there. But, like, I think he's going to be good. I think he's going to be like, he's going to be the best version we've ever seen him. Maybe an ERA barely over 4, going to be competitive, things like that.
Okay.
And I think some of the young guys coming up will fill in the spot. So I think they'll win just enough. Now, if you ask me if they're going to get to 70 wins now, well, that ship is really sailing really fast, which is a bummer. It's an abject bummer. But, I mean, you can't look at this team in the short term. You can't.
Oh, you can. You can. They stink.
You can. That's not the proper way.
Okay.
if you live in the short term, you're never going to be happy. That's my bigger point. If you want any ounce of trying to be happy, you can't look at this team in the short term.
Well, I don't think anybody is looking at this team in the short term right now.
Oh, no, there's a gigantic chunk of Royals fans that are only looking at this short term. A giant chunk. Buddy, there's a reason I called the fan base a bad word last night.
No. The reason I don't think people really care right now. I think people are just like, well, the Royals, they suck. Moving on.
Well, yeah, but like
that's
a lot of that is rooted in the short term is my point. Like that's rooted in, well, they stink right now, so that's all I'm going to focus on. Whereas there is a path to, like, for me, I think, they suck this year. And I think realistically, yeah, they might be bad next year again. Okay. They might. But I see the paths and the avenues out of the cellar because I look at it from, that, 1,000-foot view and all the things like that.
Okay.
That's kind of my larger point.
Okay.
There. Jake, what are the odds the Big 12 does add 2 new members within the next 4 years?
Oh, 90%.
Okay.
90%.
Okay.
Yeah, in the next 4 years, 90%.
I'll give you 4.
90%. Whether it is, a Pac-12 school or Gonzaga, or somebody, they're expanding. Yeah.
Okay. In that case, just because it's really fun to move the goalpost a little bit, what if I shrunk that down to the next? Actually, no. What if I raised it to 4 teams in the next 4 years? Change your math at all?
So that would get us to what? 18?
I think.
No, 16.
I'm losing my brain on all this math, man.
No, it'd be 16. Yeah, because they're at
16.
12.
They were 12. They're 12 when the 2 losers leave.
In the next 4 years,
4 teams
will they
next
get
4
to
years.
16. I'll say it's above. I'll say 50-50.
Okay.
Yeah. This thing all hinges on the contract with the ACC right now. Because I think the Pac-12 is Kaputski.
The Pac-12 is dead.
Yeah.
It's done.
Yeah.
It's finished.
And the Pac-12 will be, when I say kaput, is when they determine or where do Oregon and Washington go?
Yeah.
Because that's all that they're waiting on. If Oregon and Washington don't leave, then I think the Pac-12 will try to stay together. But I still think the Big 12 will try to go out and get somebody like a Gonzaga or somebody like that as well.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
I'd say so.
What are the odds that the Royals have a 5-game winning streak this year?
Give me a minute.
You got to look at their schedule or something?
Yes, sir.
No, you really don't, because
I do.
This team is way too up and down to even.
Oh, no, just give me just a quick second. Give me just a quick.
For those of you wondering, they play Chicago, Oakland, and then Seattle. That's their Chicago and Seattle wrap around the Oakland series next. And let's see who else is really bad.
No.
St. Louis, Colorado, and Miami are all together. You go St. Louis for 2, Colorado for 3, Miami for 3.
Yeah, no. Okay, and then this is extending this one, but I'm getting all my data collection here.
Ooh, there is a Washington. Their next stretch of games is not hard.
That is what I was going to bring up here in
Chicago White Sox,
moment.
Detroit,
I'm
Washington,
willing to say,
St. Louis.
I'm going to say 40% because they haven't done it yet. We haven't seen that stretch.
They haven't even done 3 yet. I'm asking you to go 5.
I know. I'm going to say 40%. Okay. But now I am not saying they're going to do it in this next stretch they have coming. I want to clarify that before anyone tries to put words in my mouth that I'm being a little crazy and a little out there. That being said, after they finish these 2 against the Padres, their next 11 games to end the month are all winnable.
Oh, I didn't even go their next 14.
Because do they off June with the Rockies?
Yeah, they start off June with the Rockies.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that.
No offense to Dan. They stink too.
Oh, Dan knows that. They're not the worst team in the National League, though, by record right now.
Who is?
St. Louis.
Are they really?
Yes, I believe they still are.
Man, Missouri baseball, terrible.
Oh, Missouri baseball is the lowest combined winning percentage of any state with multiple teams. But yeah, like after this Padres series, you got 3 against the White Sox, 3 against the Tigers, 3 against the Nationals, 2 against the Cardinals.
Are you ready?
I'm not saying they will. They could.
All right, ready? Hold on. You still mow my yard 4 times now.
Yes.
Okay? We're gonna do this right now.
Oh,
all right.
Jake, why do you gotta do this, man?
If they have a 5-game winning streak between now and June 5th, double or nothing. It'll either be 8 mows or none. Or, you know what?
Yeah, go with it. I have a counter.
Okay, what's your counter?
No. I want to hear your clarifying. I want your clarifying first.
No, that's good. We're good.
Okay, because I'm not going to take that. That's too small of a window for a 5-game winning streak.
Okay.
If you're going to tell me like I'd have almost all season, like through into September, then we're getting a bigger sample size.
But then by that time, my yard won't need mowed.
Exactly. That's the point.
See, I'm smarter than the average bear.
Yeah, you're there. I have a counter.
Okay.
Hold on here. In their stretch coming up between now and June, between the 19th, so starting with the White Sox series on the road, and the end of the Rockies. You know, I'm going to myself more. The end of the Marlins series.
Okay, are they any good?
The Marlins, they're
Okay.
Not great, but not terrible. So we're going to go May 19th to June 7th, essentially. All those games. So from the beginning of the White Sox series to the end of the Marlins series. So that last Marlins game counts.
17 games.
That's 17-game stretch.
Yeah.
They go above 500 in that stretch. They're at least 9-8 over those 17 games. They have not played a stretch like that even close.
I don't know.
They will go 9-8 at worst over that stretch. They will be above 500.
Here's the thing. All right, I'll make you. I'll also counter to that. Okay.
Folks, odds makers is now involved in Jake and I making wagers, which technically is in the spirit of the segment.
I will agree to that, but you have to mow my yard once.
So I can knock it down from 4 to 1.
Yeah. But even if you win, you still got to mow my yard once.
Okay. And if I lose, we're up to 8.
Yeah.
That feels like a little big gap for me here.
Or no. How about this? No. Let me think on that one. I can't do that one. I got 4 mows, man. What I should do is have you mow it right now because I haven't been able to mow it for a while, and my front yard is a jungle. I'm not gonna do that though. I'm not gonna do that. Coming up next. So yeah, no bet, but we'll see. We got a couple more days. We can figure something out. Coming up next, we will get to the Royals and the Padres and Brad Keller. Brad Keller. We'll get to that next. tonight. No lineup yet for the Royals. Hopefully they will score a run today against the Padres.
That'd be nice.
What do you think the odds are here? Let's go through it.
For them to score a run?
No. The money line versus
it's
run
gotta
line.
be like minus 210 for San Diego.
Minus 210 for San Diego, or
I guess. Seth Lugo against Brady Singer. Vegas takes into account how teams are doing up to that point usually. Say 210.
Padres are minus 198.
Oh.
That is not the worst odds. The worst odds today are the Dodgers are minus 205 over the Twins. How about that?
Yeah. Not surprising.
Yeah, there you go.
Dodgers are heating up. They have figured it out.
You can get the Padres run line at plus value. Plus 102 at minus 1.5. That's looking pretty enticing.
I can't blame you. I will say this because I don't want to preview this game because it's going to be painful and hurt my soul. I did this look at the schedule to remind me the end of this month is that weird part where the Royals have back-to-back off days.
Yeah, on May 31st and June 1st. One of three teams that have 2 off days back-to-back because of the scheduling situation.
It's weird. It's going to be weird back-to-back days. Also, might feel good because maybe I'm wrong and the Royals start losing a crap ton. But hey, maybe they do really well over that 3, 6, 9, 11 game stretch there.
Yeah.
And they go into those pair of off days feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
And the vibes are just immaculate as they bet to the K. That'd be nice. Be cool. I'd really like them to get a run tonight. Oh, also, bummer thing. I just realized the Royals' consecutive games with the homer streak broke last night.
Yeah.
I did not process that till just now. Second longest streak in franchise history. You're 2 games away from tying the record. 13 straight games.
When you run into Michael Wacha, that's what Michael Wacha does.
To Michael Wacha's credit, that was the best he's looked in 3 years. And that is not counting what the Royals were doing. That is just staring at his pitches and watching the ball come out of his hand.
He should.
That's the best that thing has looked in 3 years.
Yeah, he should.
So
he was good.
The Royals offense was not helped on. You not just faced Michael Wacha. You faced Michael Wacha looking like vintage Michael Wacha.
Yep.
That doesn't help.
No. Coming up next, we'll wrap things up with the mic drop. Have a semi-day game tomorrow, 3:10 first pitch, 2:30 pregame coverage here on your home for the Royals. So we'll have a 30-minute shortened show tomorrow before we hand it off the Royals. All right, Fulton, what do you got for the mic drop?
NBA draft lotteries tonight. The Bulls have a 1.8% chance of the number one overall pick. I would be a fan of that ping pong ball bouncing the right way and the Bulls getting Victor Wembanyama. That's what I'll say.
Who's got the best odds?
I could not tell you off the top of my head. It's the three-way tie of the teams with the three worst records because they modified the lottery odds. I just could not tell you off the top of my head who were the three worst teams this year.
They are.
I think it's Detroit, San Antonio, and Houston.
Yes, you are correct.
They are the three tied with I think it's 14-something%.
San Antonio. My wife's from San Antonio. She likes the Spurs. That would be cool if he goes to San Antonio.
Yeah.
Because then I might go to a game. So there we go.
Yeah,
Go Spurs, go. Coming up, we got 580 Sports Talk and then Royals Baseball.